welcome to our team hangout. This is the second to last team hangout of 2020. Can you believe it? Oh my goodness. That is unbelievable. I can't believe it's almost 2021. It has felt seriously a little bit like Groundhog Day for, I don't know, since March 14th or something like that. We wake up, we do the same thing, we go to bed, we wake up, we do the same thing, we go to bed. A little bit like Groundhog Day. So I hope you are all enjoying the holiday season, even though it looks a little bit different for everyone this year. And really, really quickly, I'm not gonna dive too much into it, but Saturday, if you would like to join, I am hosting a Zumba fundraiser for Christina, all proceeds to the GoFundMe. I did post everything in the team page with the Zoom link as well below, because I'm just going to trust that people are doing it by donation. So it's all there, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and I would love to dance with some of you. So hopefully see you there. So I'm going to share my screen. And for those of you that know me, you know that I'm pretty passionate about I'm going to see if I can actually get it to go into present mode. So just give me 2 secs. Because last time I did this, it actually like quit on me for some reason, which I didn't like. So most of you that know me know that I'm pretty passionate about mindset. And the reason that I am is because I know how far I've come. And I know how much I've had to work on my head. And there are things that I've learned over the, 6 years of coaching. It's almost 6 years. It'll be 6 years just beginning of January here. And just over my journey of healing, over my journey of becoming a better human being, a better parent, a better partner, a better person. And one of the things that has always stuck with me over the years is that over 70% of what we say to ourselves is negative. Not to other people, to ourselves. So whatever happens in our head, and I'm not talking like you looking in the mirror all the time and you're like, oh, I look so terrible. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like the things of like, oh, I wonder what this person is thinking about me, or why did that guy cut me off, or like those sorts of things that it's negative, right? You look at someone who's standing, talk with their arms crossed like this, and they're talking to you, and we automatically assume that they don't like us because instead of just assuming that their hands are cold, so they have their hands tucked into their armpits. Like all of those thoughts are negative thoughts. And it's so interesting because if we talk to our friends the way that we talk to ourselves, we wouldn't have any friends. And then the other component to that is like 90% of those negative thoughts are the exact same as they were the day before. Right? So in our journey of coaches and in our journey of being our best client, because you can't be a coach unless you're your best client. Like it's just, it doesn't go hand in hand, right? Is we need to really get to the source of like, what is happening with people? I'm going to give you a quick example. I have a lady that joined me in September. She's a friend of mine. She has done one workout since September. And the reason that she's only done one workout since September is she's not there here yet, right? Until she gets to the point that she can fully commit to the fitness, that's not going to happen. The fitness, even though her goal is weight loss, that's not going to happen because she needs to change what's going on up here first. None of the other ducks will line up unless she does that first. And so that's one of the things that, with coaching, I've started looking at clients more and being like, okay, well, why is this person not showing up? Well, maybe starting with a program isn't the best idea. Maybe we start them with the meditation. It's 10 minutes a day and working on their hydration for 3 weeks. And then we build on that because something is blocking them from showing up for themselves, even though they know it's fitness, they know it's nutrition. It's not rocket science, right? We all know that. And we find ourselves in these struggles. I just am finishing today is the last day of Ultimate Reset for me. I did it in April and I did it now. In April, I loved it. I loved every minute of it. I felt like I was on fire. I felt like I had so much energy, more so than I already do because I'm a pretty energetic person. This one, I hated it. I hated every single second of it. I have had a headache for 3 weeks straight. I caved yesterday and had a coffee because I was like, I'm not doing this. Like, I'm just not. I'm listening to my body. Yeah, I've got to my weight loss goal and I've done that. But I have literally envisioned myself opening boxes of chocolates and just like shoving them in my face. And that's how powerful our brains are. I didn't do that. That's how powerful our brains are. So I can only imagine, like, obviously I needed this experience because I know when Angie did it with me in April, she didn't have a wonderful experience like I did. She struggled through it. She did it and she struggled through it. And maybe I needed to feel what it would feel like for someone to struggle through this, right? So, and I'm fully aware that my mind is like playing games on me. So today, mindset makeover. It's a simple business, yet we make it really hard because our brains get in the way. So let's change that today. Have you ever noticed that what you focus on is what you see in the mirror? And I'm going to give you an example right now that Clarissa might get mad at me about, but we'll just go with it. So I'm 45 and I think I look pretty fabulous for 45. And I have some well-earned wrinkles that I don't really feel the need to fix right now. Like I just don't. And then she went to get Botox done. And I was like, oh, do I have to get Botox done too? Like that's the first thought that went through my head was like, oh, well, now she's going to look like we're only a year apart, but she's going to look, she already looks younger because she's more rested and doesn't have kids and those sorts of things. But, and I'm proud of my wrinkles. I know that I've earned them and I'm proud of how I look. So I was like, well, why am I now feeling this way? And so I started feeling like this lady in the mirror up here where I'm like, oh, there you are, T. Okay, I see you now. I see you now. When really, I feel like this. Like that's what I feel like. And so what we focus on is what will come to life. If you wake up every morning and you think, oh my God, I'm so tired and I just feel so fat and I have no clothes that fit me. And oh, guess what's going to come to life for you? Guess what is going to be your reality? And so please take in mind that that is what we are helping our clients with. It's transitioning that thought. Now, I know for a fact that my lady who I mentioned that has, you know, probably about 40 pounds she wants to lose is not going to look in the mirror and be like, I look fabulous. Like her brain is going to say bullshit. Her brain is totally going to reject what she says. So we have to work on the language of like, I am in the process of loving my body. I am in the process of accepting me for who I am. I am on the path to living my healthiest life. Right? Because her brain can be like, oh, okay, I can see that. I can kind of work with that. Whereas if I tell her to go stand in the mirror, in front of the mirror and be like, oh, I love myself. I'm so beautiful. Literally her brain is going to be like, you're a fucking liar. Like that's what her head is going to say. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. That's just how it works. All right. So we are working on getting our clients and ourselves to this state here. And maybe I will, just as an aside, get Botox one day. But right now I don't feel the need for it. I'm okay with it. So wired to protect. So the number one job of the human, any animal brain is to protect, right? It's absolutely to protect. And so then it's up to us, and I'll explain this a little bit more, to flip the switch on that itty bitty bitchy committee. So a little bit of backstory. When I had my youngest child, so my oldest is going to be 17. How did that even happen? Some of you on the team are pretty much closer to her in age than you are me, but whatever. And my youngest is 12. I totally fell apart. I had severe postpartum anxiety, severe postpartum depression. I cried pretty much nonstop for a year. I started seeing, at the time I was actually referred to the social worker that was attached to like the pre and postnatal clinic that I went to. And so she kept seeing me because there wasn't anyone for her to transition me to until I got into some counseling. And so I saw my social worker and we did tons of like healing stuff, and it came up. So when I was quite young, I was sexually abused by a male caregiver. I wasn't even 3 yet. And I remember everything. And then it happened again when I was 9. And so I was told I would be hated. I was told that I wasn't, my family would disown me. And the first guy actually even told me that he would kill my parents if he found out. So my social worker explained to me that when a child goes through that, your brain actually like switches from like development mode to survival mode, right? So I had to undo a lot of stuff that was, I always had this visual of those old lawn chairs that like, those that were like interwoven like this. And I had to like pick out the colors that I didn't want. And it was like so tedious. But that's the visual that would always come to mind. Like, no, I don't want that gray. I want it all to be like bright colors because that's who I am. And so at the time, my social worker actually had me name the nasty voice in my head. And I'll tell you my nasty voice, but I always feel bad because now I know a couple people named this. And they're not nasty. So my nasty voice's name was Martha. And so we would actually like have conversations with Martha where it would be like, no, Martha, shut the fuck up. You are not welcome here. Like that was how. And so I had to learn to disassociate Martha from who I was, right? And then another friend of mine just, a couple of years ago told me that she actually calls it the itty bitty bitchy committee. And I was like, oh, that's brilliant. Because then I don't have to have a name. And it's not someone that, I'm going to meet someone down the road and be like, oh, that's really unfortunate that that's your name because that's my nasty voice name. So now I just call it the itty bitty bitchy committee. But the one thing I want you to take into mind here is that with that itty bitty bitchy committee, there's a reason that the voice is there, right? There's a reason because your brain is trying to protect you. So what is your brain trying to protect you from? So imagine this. I wanted to give you this little scenario here. You are all excited because you've just started out as a coach or you are just about to start 9-week control freak and your adrenaline is pumping and you're on such a high and you're literally ready to invite anyone and everyone. You take your picture, you start to write, and you freeze, right? You totally freeze. And nothing more is coming out. And you're literally paralyzed in your head and all you can hear are these like things, right? So you literally can't push post or even continue typing in some situations. And all of this doubt comes washing over you. What value do I have to offer? I have so many people that when they start or when we first started talking to them about the coaching, well, I couldn't coach anyone. I'm not fit. And I was like, well, that's not the point of coaching. Like I'm not asking you to be a personal trainer or a group fitness instructor. I'm asking you to coach people on their journey, to take them on this journey with you. Right? You are going to work on your own personal journey and bring people along with you to work on theirs, and you're going to do it together. And that's what a coach is. So the next one is, will anyone do this with me? Are they going to think I'm just trying to sell them something? How many times has that thought gone through your head? So the itty bitty bitchy committee isn't so itty bitty anymore. She's loud and she's on a rant, right? And you are paralyzed. You literally are like stuck there. And why? What happened? So as human beings, we're programmed to survive. It's something innate within us. And so change for our brains is hard. In fact, our brain will talk us out of most change to protect us. In the moment of panic, where the bitchy committee kicks in, that is literally a mechanism of defense because our brain doesn't want us to be disappointed or sad or hurt or rejected, right? Why would our brain, when it's programmed for survival, want us to be rejected? It wouldn't. It just doesn't. It doesn't make sense that our brain would want that. Yet we know that we can help someone. So then you have to look at it really, what is the worst that can happen? A no? A block? I actually kind of like the blocks now. I'll be honest. I didn't like them before, but when I follow up with people as religiously as I do, it just happened like 2 weeks ago, and I messaged this girl and I was like, hey, Winter, how are you? Any plans for the holidays? How are you holding up? Blah, blah, blah. Within seconds, it was like, you can no longer reply to this person. And there were like 15 messages before, and I was like, oh, thank God I can take her off my list. Like, I don't have to put that energy in anymore. She wasn't obviously my person. I can bless and release, and hopefully she will find her path to her healthiest self. We obviously connected for a reason, but I'm not her person, right? So what's the worst can happen? It's not really that bad. Like, it's not as the same as being, rejected from a best friend, or no, we can't be friends anymore. Our brain doesn't really know that though. It just doesn't want us to be rejected in general. So we have to kind of talk ourselves into and bring ourselves back to like, okay, do I really know, like, do I know this person? Is it going to be the end of the world if they say no or block me? No, right? So any sort, but at the same, on the same hand, any sort of hurt or disappointment is not something the brain wants. So hence the committee, right? That don't do this, or freeze, or talk yourself out of, or I don't have any value to offer. So what do we do? All right, so I asked my team for some of their biddy committee comments so that we can turn them on their heads, and this is what they came up with. All right. The first one is just selling. So many people find that this idea of like, I'm just selling someone something. So when you go to hit post or send and the voice starts with, you know, that you're just going to think, or they're just going to think that you're selling them something. I think there are obviously more than two ways that you can look at it, but two simple ways that you can look at it. Number one, so what? So what? If you're selling them something that's going to allow them to live a happier, healthier life, so what? Sell it. I think that there's this complete misconception about selling. I have to sell Clarissa on what we're going to have for freaking dinner. Like, we are selling every moment of our lives when we are interacting with someone else. No, I want to watch that movie. No, I want to watch this movie. No, I want to watch, right? We are selling all the time. All the time. And we are being sold to all the time, right? Why did you pick that particular can of tomatoes at the supermarket? Was it the color of the packaging? Was it that it had less sugar written on the label? Was it, right? What sold you on that package? We are literally being sold all the time, and we are doing the same. We are selling, right? If I love something, and I know we've talked about this on team calls before, where if you love something, like I freaking love Lululemon, and the fact that Lululemon sent me a message because I was wearing their Ready to Rulu joggers and tagged them in my story, and I was like, yes, and I just sold people on wearing Lululemon. Like, and who's making the money off of that? Because it's not me, it's Lululemon that's making the money off of that, right? So what? We have to get past this, like, oh, I'm not good at selling stuff. You're good at selling stuff. You've got a job, you got a house or a place to live, you have your favorite clothing styles, you've convinced your friends to go to movies with you, you've convinced your partner or spouse or whoever to go on to a restaurant with you. We're all freaking good at selling. You just have to like accept it. We're all selling, and so what? You're helping them change their life. And the other thing I think that you can take into account here is that the person that you are inviting or talking to, you know, with all of your heart, you know, with every ounce of your being, that you are going into that conversation with integrity, with your complete commitment to them, that you are willing to fail forward with them and learn with them along the way. Because no one starts as this coach that knows all and knows what to do, and you're going to fail forward with them. You know that they are not just a sale for you. You know that they are not just a number, that they are not just a success club point, that they are not just that sale. So if that is what's going on in your head, do something to hype yourself back up. Have your energize, turn on some good music, and come back to it. Whatever you do, do not go into that conversation though with that, oh, they're just thinking I'm selling. Because if you bring that energy to that conversation, they are going to think you're just selling, and they will walk away, right? So you just hold on, you are changing someone's life. The next one that came up was value. So what value do you often hear offer value and then doubt the value that you have to offer, right? I hear that a lot. And for me, and Maxine and I talk about this a fair bit, I'm simple, I'm boring, and I'm okay with that, right? I like being home. I like having food at home. I like playing my music. I like dancing, but I don't need anything extravagant. Like, I love Angie Bellmare, but the thought of having a closet like that, it gives me anxiety. I don't want a closet like that. I want to go to like Tahiti and the Maldives, and I don't want, no, like, that's not for me. And to each their own, right? That's what makes this business is so yeah, I've often wondered, like, what value do I have to offer? I have a ton of value because I have a journey, I have a story, I have you know, who I am. And the thing that I always go back to is I think of me. And I don't just think of me when I started coaching. I think of me when I started my journey to like a healthier human. So when my social worker told me to start running. And so I did. I bought a double jogger stroller and I went 5 days a week for a run with my kids in the jogger stroller, you know, and I called myself Forrest Gump for a year or so. And then I found the gym and then I found Zumba. And I think of that person, that mom who I literally felt like my dog was above me on the priority list, right? That's what I felt like. So I think of her. I also think of the person struggling with childhood trauma, struggling with some sort of trauma. It doesn't even have to be childhood, some sort of trauma. And for me, like I've never been one to broadcast my story, not because I'm embarrassed about it, but because I realize that everyone has a story, right? So yeah, my story is I wouldn't change it. It's made me who I am. I have an amazing relationship with my family, my parents now, and I'm sure it's because of that. Um, you know, and I've become who I am and I like me. So I wouldn't change my story because of that. But I think of me when I hated everything, when I couldn't even like be at peace with my own body. That's the person that I think of when I think about offering value. Because maybe it's literally just, hey, you got this. You can get out of bed today, right? Maybe it's as simple as that. And that one person that saw that post or that story is like, okay, I can get out of bed today, right? Like that, you have to think of those moments. And not everyone has the same story as me. So definitely don't think of my story. Think of you. Think of you when you started coaching. Think of you when you started on this journey of searching for that. You know, maybe it's the financial freedom, maybe it's the freedom of time, maybe it's the overall health that brought you into this. Whatever it is, think of you and talk to that person. All right. I always talk to her, whatever I have to say. I also think of, you know, other women who have left marriages and now are in same-sex relationships, because I know there's a lot of us out there, right? So I think of that person too, because there are people out there that have reached out to me and been like, wow, I can't believe you guys are navigating this, you know, so well. So it'll be 8 years in May that we've been together. So it's, you know, I think of that person because maybe they just need to see the quote that I found. So that's who you want to think of. All right. Or maybe you think of things like, what more can I give? And you're feeling a bit depleted. In this case, I only have one tip, and that's personal development. And I really feel like there are two kind of strands of personal development you need to be doing. Depending on where you are in your business, I'm at a stage in my business where I do need to be doing business personal development, but I also need to do personal development for my soul. Or I find myself in this, I have nothing to share. When I'm in the throes of a good book or a good podcast or I always have something to share. Always. There isn't a day. If I listen to my personal development religiously, there is always something that comes up that I can share. Always. So if you're feeling like you just have nothing more to offer, it's because there's lack of PD. PD will always give us ideas. So read, listen, watch, and then share one tip that resonated with you because you're speaking to that former version of you that could use the help. Okay. And just one. I see a lot of posts, and I'm not saying it's from our team, but just like scrolling on like 10 tips to a blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I'm checked out by tip number 3. So I don't, that's me. And if you're someone who will read the 10 tips, then talk with the 10 tips. And I'll go into that a little bit more. So I've given value. Now what? So we all go through this as well. We've given the value, whether it's in our social media, email marketing, or in a free group. How do we then get those people to join us? And I'll go back to my think of you tip and answer. How would you want to have been approached in this scenario? How would you? And I'm going to mention Sarah here, Sarah Batiste, because She mentioned on a team call not that long ago that she doesn't listen to voice messages, right? And so she'll read it. I'm the total opposite. Don't send me a message that's like giant and written because I'm not going to read it. Send me a voice message or a quick video, right? But you have to know that about yourself first. I know that if I get someone's blog and it's literally like one of my best friends, she has this awesome business. She's a phenomenal person with her newsletters. I want to like, I just can't even, because all it is words. And I'm like, whoa, I can't, no, I'm done, bye. Like I personally can't do it. I'm a squirrel that way, but I know that about me. So I'm going to talk to people like I want to be talked to, right? I'm going to talk to those people and I'm going to send them a short video, or I'm going to send them a voice message. I've even sent video messages because I would like that. I would have liked that. And that's how you have to approach that. And I'm not going to give you scripts. I'm not going to dive into that, because I really think if you sit back on it and be like, okay, how would I have wanted someone to ask me? How would I want them to break this down for me? You have the answer inside of you. Your head is literally just talking yourself out of it, right? It's already there. You already know what to say because someone said it to you. That's why you're here, right? Someone said it to you and it resonated so much with you that you're here now. So the other thing here is, when the people are saying no, and you hear this all the time, you hear a no just means not now. And it's true. I can tell you that the only reason I'm successful in this business is because I'm so relentless at follow-ups that people 2, 3, 4 years later, out of the blue, hey, Tamara, I'm ready now. And it's because I've been following up for that long. So maybe you've gone through all of those steps above and now you received a no. So ask for referrals, right? Ask for them to, that I totally understand. If you know anyone who is interested, please keep me in mind. Or if in a few months you feel like you're ready to jump in, please keep me in mind, right? So those sorts of things, because it takes that weirdness of selling out of it when you ask for a referral. And I think this is the second to last one, bring the energy. Many of us have heard of the gangster rap method, and I saw Steele kind of nodding her head about the music. Music may not be your thing, and that's totally fine. Maybe go do some jumping jacks and shoot some energize and then send your messages, because your adrenaline is then pumping through your body. Whatever it is that works for you, if you go into a conversation thinking that the person won't have time or won't have money, guess what they won't have? It's the same as, oh, I'm so tired. I feel so fat and bloated, right? Like it's the exact same thing. So change that to the people I invite today are so excited to join me. And how do you change that? How do you change it that works for you? I don't do rap music. I do like Latin, usually like reggaeton or something like that. Invites on Energize, writing it out, a chant, whatever it is that works. And if you bring, I'm always saying the same thing, guess what people will say. So I mentioned that I'm religious or relentless with my follow-ups. I also don't just like copy paste messages. So I might be following up and kind of on a roll. This morning I was on a roll with my follow-ups because Wednesday and Sunday are my follow-up days. And I got to it was copy paste. I changed her name, copy paste, just a short message. And then I got to one where I was like, I already wished her happy holidays. Now I need to find out how her knee, shoulder. She hurt her shoulder. Hey girl, how's the shoulder coming along? Right? Because I already sent her. So you pay attention to what you're sending, because I'm not always going to send the invite message. I'm going to go back to something they've mentioned before. Maybe I send an invite and then I have 3 or 4 more follow-ups messages and we have a little conversation in there. And then I send another invite message, right? So, and then the last part here, did you know that our posts are only seen by like 10% of our following? So who cares if it's a repeat? If it would have helped a former you, then post it or ask it. All right. And then the last slide here is just finally remember the power of words and assumptions. And this I have to constantly like chat with Clarissa about. And I think I chat with her about it because it gives her a different perspective of looking for it. When she sent, so-and-so didn't reply. I'm like, probably because they read the message and they don't know about the feature of unread, right? On Facebook Messenger, most people probably don't know that you can unread your message so that you can leave it sitting there unread and go back to it. Most people are just in the throes of life and something happened and maybe their kid fell and hurt their knee or, you know, something, and they literally forgot. And so assume something that serves you, just like this, right? Is the person really not interested in what you're saying, or their hands cold? You know, if someone had to like leave this call early, am I going to assume that they didn't like what I was saying? Is that serving me? Or am I going to assume that they had to go to a doctor's appointment this afternoon? Right? Assume something that serves you, because it flips the energy for you on it and be like, oh, I bet you they just had to go do that. I'll follow up with them in a week and schedule your follow-up. All right. So assume something that serves you. She was busy, got distracted by her kids or life, and now feels terrible. And so then the person doesn't reply because they're like, oh shit, I forgot to reply to so-and-so. And then they feel bad. And then that, you know, hamster wheel. So why assume the worst? If struggling with words to use, again, I'm going to go back to think of you when you started. What would you have needed to hear or wanted to hear? And if you believe something is hard, it will be. Whether it's weight loss, invites, or getting out of bed, it will be whatever you believe it is. All right. So that's kind of, I didn't even look at the chat. I'm sorry, but I knew that I would not. Okay, I'm going to, hi. Heck yes, would do. Sit down and shut up, Martha. Yeah, that's right. Totally sense the energy through the screen. 100% people can sense your energy. They can sense your fear. People are like dogs that way, right? They can sense the fear and be like I now, being 6 years into the business, when someone messages me like that, I'm like, oh, they don't know what they're doing, right? Like I can kind of laugh at it and be like, oh yeah, they're feeling really awkward sending me this message. Oh, sorry, just one sec. My phone started. Perfect. All right. So that's that's all I have today. I didn't see any questions in there. Do you guys have any questions? Do you have anything you want me to go over? Thank you for being on. Look at all of you on a Wednesday at 12 o'clock. So I know it's not 12 o'clock for everyone, especially for Alina. But it was probably 12 p.m. where she is, or 12 a.m. I should say. Just so you know, Alina, is this your first team call? So she's right now in Russia, in Moscow. Yeah, so she wins the award for farthest away on a team call. Pretty amazing. So awesome to have you on. Can we do a picture? Does anyone want to hop off and we'll do a quick photo? Oh, there you are. Look at all those beautiful faces. MJ's in the car. Yay. Okay, smile, beautifuls. Oh, wait, one more. I was too close to the screen. I was cutting off MJ's head. She was going to be like a pirate with one eye. So anything you would like me to go over here? Oh, no. Yeah, it's 9:35 because you're in Germany, right? Wherever she is. Yeah. So you got someone close to you there, Molina. Well, that's it for me, ladies. So thank you so much for being on. I hope that you found that helpful. It is like, honestly, recognize the fact that our brains are powerful and be like, okay, sometimes it's giving you a lesson, right? Sometimes it is that, like, what's the lesson for me here? Why am I feeling this way? You know, so if a message comes up that, you know, gives you that feeling that you feel strange, or when you go to send a message or send a post, run with it. Like, why am I feeling that way? And really kind of try and get to the bottom of why you're feeling that way. And sometimes there will be little aha moments along the way. And it's you'll grow so much just by kind of acknowledging the power of our brain. It is one insane. I'm actually teaching ancient Egypt right now, and they actually thought that the heart, because we feel so much, right, about what we think, we don't feel it up here. They thought that all of our thinking was in here and that our brains were useless. So because we feel it here. So.
I'm just gonna add insight to this, you guys. So separate from Beachbody, in my other world, I work for a big pharmaceutical company, Johnson & Johnson. So it's crazy. It's crazy because the mindset you have to put in the work you do, right? We're entrepreneurs. I'm going to give you guys an example. So I work as an executive in this crazy man's world. And I have to switch my mindset when I sit at a table of men who look at me like, who's this little 5-foot Asian girl? She walks in with bright pink lipstick and tattoos. Like, what can she possibly contribute to our world? Same thing in our fitness world, you guys. People are going to look at us like, what does this person contribute? So you have to get in that mindset. And I'm going to give you a little exercise I do outside of Beachbody. And it's relatable to Tamara's topic 100% and the 5-second rule when you feel that thing. So something I do before I go into a meeting or before I hit send or before I even post something, I look at myself, and this goes, Estelle, you might have heard Estelle say this in another meeting where she's like, you have to be your own self pumper upper. Mm-hmm. I actually look at myself and get the mindset, and I say, Mar, okay, girl, showtime. And you just need to have that moment of braveness, 15 seconds on our stories, guys. And then you let go, and people will love you for who you are. That's all I'm going to say. And I'm older than Tamara, you guys. So like, we have all these things going against us. We're older, we're this, we're that, you know what I mean? Like it's hard not to compare, but for that single minute, give yourself, you know how they say, give yourself that 15 seconds of, what is the saying? Somebody help me, 15 seconds of stardom, showtime. I forgot what the saying is. Anyway.
15 seconds of fame?
Yes.
Yeah.
Dude, give it to yourself. Like that's the mindset you want. So Tamara, thank you for pulling this subject out of the hat and sharing it with us.
You're welcome. Thank you. And thanks for sharing. I love that. I'm going to be like,
say something real quick too.
Yeah, of course. Please do.
So I did want to mention to you guys, I've been a coach for 5 years, and it never goes away, that itty bitty bitchy committee. If you let it, it'll constantly creep in. You have to be focused on reversing it and making sure that, like Mar said, taking that quick 15 seconds and being like, it's showtime, let's go. Take that energized shot, do whatever you need to do, put the music on, do whatever to get in the proper mindset before you send those messages, before you do your post, whatever it is. Because no matter how long you've been doing it, that voice will always pop in. It just happens. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, get rid of it, do whatever you need to do. And just realize that it's not going to go away. You have to focus on it. It's something that you have to be aware of and just be on top of it at all times, because no matter what, it's going to be there. It's just you taking control of it, because it's your brain. You get to decide.
Well, and I think that's one of the reasons I wanted to talk about this so much. Going into a new year. B, we are finishing one heck of a crazy year. And C, it's so normal for everyone. And I think it's not talked about enough. Like there's this whole stigma about, especially with women, which I find so strange. Like we have to be super women all the time. We have to be super moms. We have to wear we don't have to. We're going to go through our moments, acknowledge them. They're there. If like, I know for me, if I find that the committee is louder than normal, it's generally personal development that I'm missing on. And it's like, or it's my period. And I'm just like, why are you feeling this way? But just, I think acknowledging it and sharing it and talking about it and making it more normal, and normal in the sense of like, we all go through it, not normal in the sense of like letting it take over our lives. And I love that. I'm totally going to be like, T, you got this. I'm so stealing that, Mar. I'm so going to use that. So yeah, and Flo sit down and shut up pretty much, right?
Seriously, you guys, like if you walk past the mirror, I got this again from Estelle, like some days we look bloated, some days we don't. Like I walked past the mirror and I was like, oh girl, your hair looks long today. I mean, something that simple can be like a moment, like it'll just change the moment, and then you can laugh, or you could, celebrate yourself. So the same thing that we do as coaches to other people, we have to do that to ourselves, you guys. Mm-hmm. It's not just coaching other people. Like we need to like pump ourselves up too. So just keep that in mind.
And everyone needs you. Everyone needs each one of us. You know, the chick that blocked me, maybe she wants Lisa as her coach, right? Or whoever, Cheryl, or whoever it is on here. Maybe they're a better fit for her than I was, and that's totally fine. We all need to shine our own light, be our own people, and just share. Like I always talk about it now when I like, oh, I must be getting close to that time. I'm feeling really weepy. Like it's just life. And I think the more we like normalize it and talk about it, and that fact that we're always going to be on the journey of, you know, bettering our brains, bettering ourselves. So I thank you all so much for being on with me today. For those of you that celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. And then I know Sarah is going to be hosting next Wednesday's call, which will be the last one of the year. Unreal, hey? Unreal. So enjoy, spend time with your loved ones, take some time for you. We love you, and we will all chat with you again very soon. Okay? Ciao, beautiful people.